Welcome to Grumpily Ever After, our uncensored podcast where swoon-worthy meets eye-rolling as I, an avid reader and adventure romance author, chat with my grumpy husband who has inspired all of my book boyfriends written to date. Join us as we chat about books he'll never read, words he thinks are stupid, and all his grumbles in between. If nothing else, we hope to make you smile and brighten your day. At least a little. So, settle in and let's see where today's chapter takes us.
I'm trying to stall.
Why?
Sending a work email.
Oh, you're hilarious. All right, you let me know when you're ready for your wife.
Ready, coach.
All right, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Grumpily Ever After. I am your host, Lindsey Pogue.
Main cheese, Dennis.
It's a Friday. We just got back from vacation. And
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to try not to touch my eyes, but we were just having a conversation about how our allergies are so bad. I mean, my allergies are always bad. So anybody who watches the video knows I'm always touching my eyes because they're always watering or itching. But Dennis is struggling today too. So we'll try not to jab our eyes out too much for all of you who are watching.
Yeah, my eyes are burning. I feel like there's something on there. Just asked you for some eye drops.
It's super windy here and it's spring / beginning of summer, so
I think technically, officially, summer has begun. Some summer has begun.
Really? It's May 16th.
Look it up.
Look it up. No,
this is according to Vinny. I think he said summer has begun. So
okay, and everybody who doesn't know, Vinny is a morning show talk host that he's referring to. Okay. So welcome to this episode. It's Friday, and we're just settling in for kind of a crazy, fun weekend. Woohoo!
Yeah, you need one of those, the horn sounder. It's Friday.
Is that decent? Or is that the feasting horn?
No, yeah, that's more horny. I mean, more of a horn. More medieval horn, not, you know what I meant.
Anyways,
I'm gonna get a soundboard so I can be your sound guy.
Please, it's one less thing I have to worry about. Pass. Okay, great. Thank you for offering, and then totally.
It was a loose offer. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to this episode. I think I've said that 7 times now. Dennis, how was your day?
It was filled with excitement and
joy.
So much fun that it was countless not countless, but it was multiple meetings of people, my staff, doing things they shouldn't be doing. So, fun conversations, and
so it's solid average work day.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into more conversations and more meetings and things I don't want to do. I shouldn't have to do, but people are people, and everyone's different. So. Yeah, fun.
Yes. Well, it's still Friday, and at least you have, hopefully a weekend to look forward to. So,
how was your day, P?
Thank you for asking. My day was all right. I'm such a creature of habit and person of routine that it takes me a little while to kind of get my grounding and my bearings when I get back from vacation. And because we got home in the middle of the week, it's been kind of crazy, but feeling good. And overall, I will tell you that I finally finished Zach's chapter, his intro chapter. He'll be in other chapters, but his intro chapter about, 5 minutes ago. That's what I was doing outside when you got home. Needed some sun on my bote because I have been deprived of it for the last month or so.
No, I mean that's part of it, but I think you were trying to be one with the character, right? The man's a surfer, sun lover.
Sure.
So, sure. Okay.
Yes, exactly. I was channeling him.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. As I was writing, and I had mentioned, I think it was yesterday, that I was struggling to write his character. Not because I couldn't see him clearly or because I didn't know how to incorporate him into the story, because I knew all of that and how I was going to do that. It was more about his dialogue. I was struggling because it's easy for you to sit there and be like, yeah, dude, man, bro, blah, blah, blah. But when he's talking to a girl, a lot of that stuff doesn't translate. Like, it doesn't really work, you know? I mean, so I realized, and I didn't realize at first that that's what it was, because he's talking to Harper. He's not going to be saying, dude, yeah, bro, blah, 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 blah. So I've kind of like gave him a different, you know, some different terms and stuff. Like he calls her Chica, and I don't know. I thought it, anyways.
Oh,
you like that?
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's also Mexican, but yeah. So,
oh,
yeah. So anyways, it was really kind of like, once I allowed myself to think outside of Dennis's box that you created, I was like, oh yeah, like this is what's going on. And he's having a conversation with a girl. So what's he going to call her and how's he going to talk to her? And I think it's going to work out okay. I need to do another pass through and see how I'm feeling about it when I've taken a step back, but I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. I will say that I didn't take any of my notes with me when I was writing his stuff. So I'm going to have to revisit the notes that we took during the podcast so that I can make sure that I incorporated the things that made sense. I did catch myself as I was wrapping up. I was like, oh my God, I didn't include the orange bandana, man. So I went back and added it. And nice. to answer your question that you have asked me, what color eyes did I choose? I went with a pale green, like a gray green color. So
right on.
Yep.
That works.
Yep.
Yeah, no, these were just basic ideas, and you got free range to do whatever you want with them. If he wants to call a Mexican girl Chica, then so be it. You know, it's all good.
Yeah. So I wanted to just update you on Zach's chapter, and also I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is playing on your mechanical instincts and skills. If we're in the end of the world, or it's hard, and that's just so broad and makes no sense really. If we're in a reality where, 10 years after society collapses, there's not, we're assuming fuel is bad at this point. Anything that's left is bad after 10 years, I'm assuming. Plus there's a whole, like, you can only siphon so much, blah, blah, blah. What can you make fuel out of? I know you can make fuel out of corn, like vegetable oil, like used oil, right? No. Ooh, I'm getting the face.
To an extent, that's a lot of work. I don't think the Joe Schmo person can really derive. When you're saying fuel, you're talking about gasoline.
Yeah, for anything that might need it, whether it's an ATV or a car or a.
That's going to be really hard.
Okay.
And really vehicle specific, because essentially,
you have to retrofit your cars for that stuff, huh?
It's ethanol when you're driving fuel from corn, and it's a certain percentage, and there's only certain vehicles that run off a percentage of ethanol. So I think your best bet, and this is where a lot of movies get this jacked up, because you see people siphoning fuel from tankers or fuel stations 20 years later. That stuff's probably garbage and it wouldn't run right, but it still works because the normal masses don't care. Your best bet realistically is probably something that's a diesel.
Okay.
Because then you can run, I don't know how long diesel takes for it to go bad. If it ever does, I have no clue. I've never researched it. I feel like it probably is more stable than gasoline. And with diesel, you have more viable options like cooking oil, transmission fluid.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you told me that before.
They're like diesels. I'm not talking new diesels. That's different. New diesels probably wouldn't run off that stuff, but we're talking old classic like
2000.
Pre-carb stuff where the emissions really gets in there, and there's all these sensors, and it runs differently with high pressure injectors. But old school diesels, yeah, probably like pre-2000, really like 99 and below. And you got trucks, right? Everyone, you see a diesel or you hear diesel and you think truck, but there's plenty of diesels in Europe, in South America, and basically every country except for America that are cars. I'm sure you've seen. I think the only car around here that you might have seen that was
It's a
diesel
Volvo or
was a
something.
Volvo
Yeah.
or an old Mercedes.
So you're just telling me that it's just mostly unlikely in general, which is fine. I don't even need them. I was just seeing, like, should I be writing these in my world? Like, how easy is it to do these things?
It's mostly unlikely. I think you probably should just do the cop out that everyone does and assume that gas lasts forever and just rock it. Or if you want to be like the author,
No, I'm not going to do that.
If you want to be the author from Jurassic Park, whatever his name is, that is Michael Crichton, beyond thorough and like super realistic about what would happen. It would be everything that someone's driving is a diesel, and you can just say, they threw some vegetable oil in the tank.
And I don't even need to say that, but if somebody's passing by in a diesel, we can automatically assume that, like, I am not going to Michael Crichton it and like go into 17 paragraphs of how something is possible. But that's good to know. And you said that you have never looked up how long diesel fuel lasts or diesel lasts. And I'm pretty sure I have looked it up a solid 8 times, maybe 10. I still don't remember. So that's why I'm asking you all these things. We've had this conversation probably 5 times.
I should look it up just so I can put that in the memory bank, because actual diesel has some, it's pretty oily, which is very hard to combust. So if diesel itself is almost equivalent to, let's say, cooking oil, how long does cooking oil last? I would assume forever.
That's been used?
Yeah.
I feel like that would mold. Old. I feel like that would mold, but I don't know.
All you got to do is filter it.
Well, I just put into Google, how long does diesel last? It says diesel fuel typically lasts for 6 to 12 months when stored properly. However, with ideal conditions and the use of additives, it can potentially last longer, possibly 18 to 24 months. I don't say anything in here about years.
Yeah, but
hold on, sorry. Can you use 20-year-old diesel? No, it is not okay to use old diesel after 2 years of storage, as it will have a gummy consistency, causing your machinery to break down. Hence, only use fuel that is stored for a year.
Yeah, and that's being like, you're trying to protect the internals of the engine, motor, the injection system, all that. But the gumminess of it, you essentially can filter through, because it's like sediment and it falls to the bottom. You don't disturb the tank. You skim off the top, you filter it, and it's still good. Diesels are essentially, the older ones, bulletproof. They'll consume anything. Gas, on the other hand, is a lot more sensitive. It kind of like, when it gets gummy, it gums up everything, like the internals of the injectors, the fuel lines, the filters. It becomes kind of, it's more, so gasoline's more like water, I guess, if I'm trying to explain it. It's more watery, and as it sits, it becomes more congealed, and trying to get it uncongealed is harder than the diesel one. Diesel just gets congealed and it falls to the bottom, and you just skim off the top, type of thing.
All right, yeah. Okay. Basic answer is, I'm not going to probably do it.
No, and that was one thing that I did like about
The Last of Us?
No, it was the zombie movie. Drawing a blank.
Who? Can you give me a clue?
Ali Lauder.
Oh, the one, Resident Evil, the Las Vegas one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had like a tanker.
Mm-hmm.
They had a school bus.
Mm-hmm.
They had a regular bus.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a SWAT type vehicle thing.
Mm-hmm.
They had an ambulance. Those are all diesels.
Yeah.
Or you could assume that they're all diesels.
Got it.
So no one's driving a regular passenger vehicle, that you
Right.
could say, oh, that's there's no way that's clearly gas. All of those are diesel runners. So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Well, you remembered it, so that's definitely saying something, because mostly you remember things you don't like, not things that you do. So, all right. So those are my check-ins. Those are long-winded, so thanks for bearing with us, everybody. The activity that I wanted us to do today, drum roll, please. Did you make a noise?
You didn't hear anything?
I heard nothing.
Oh, I did.
Oh,
I heard it in my ears.
that is so weird. I think maybe was it loud? I don't know, because maybe my ears canceled it out.
I'll go louder.
No,
You can edit.
I'm scared of my ears. Go ahead. I still can't hear you. I think it's your microphone that's blocking it because it's too loud. Can't hear a single thing you're doing right now.
All right, let me try and yell real quick, just for
my
shits,
God.
and edit it out.
Okay. Ow. Okay, yeah. Then how come I couldn't hear the other thing?
What the hell?
That is so strange. All right, moving on. I can hear that. Okay, so that didn't work out.
It might when you listen back.
Doubt it, but maybe. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to analyze a handful of some of the most beloved grumpy characters that have been in shows, books, and television since we are called Grumpily Ever After, and you are a curmudgeon. So, of course, everyone's going to hear me say that and be like, no, he's not. He makes us laugh, blah, blah, blah. But Dennis is a grumpy-ass curmudgeon at home when he's not on a podcast.
A sourpuss.
In fact, the people who have brought up the podcast, the number one thing they say is, I can't believe Dennis is doing a podcast.
I can't believe it either.
Yeah, well, you just must really love me. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through a handful of different grumpy characters, and then I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not very grumpy, 10 being super grumpy, of where you think they fall on the scale, okay?
Do I know these people?
Yeah, I made sure to pick everybody that you know. Some of them you probably know better than me because you are more familiar with these series. But I tried to pick people that you've at least heard of so that and I have information about them too. So are you ready, Freddie? These are going to be, there's going to be 3 of them, and they are for this specific category, and these are grumpy because of their circumstances. Okay, that's the type of characters that these are, and we're going to start with the Beast / Prince Adam from Beauty and the Beast.
Question.
Yes.
Am I rating these people on a scale?
Yes. 1 to 10, 10 being the grumpiest. How grumpy you think they are?
I think I missed that. Okay, 1 to 10.
Okay, so 1 out of 10, you're going to rate them on where you think they fall in the range of grumpy, not grumpy, okay? Based on what you consider to be grumpy.
Got it.
All right, so number 1, again, this is grumpy based on circumstances. So the first one is going to be the Beast, also known as Prince Adam from Beauty and the Beast. His initial monstrous form and angry demeanor are a result of a curse and his own selfish actions. His journey involves overcoming his grumpiness to love and be loved. The Beast's grumpiness is a direct consequence of the curse that transformed him into a monstrous creature and his years of isolation and self-pity. He is ill-tempered, demanding, and prone to fits of rage. His lack of social skills and his inability to love contribute to his sour disposition. His journey involves overcoming his anger and bitterness through his relationship with Belle, learning to love and be loved in return. His grumpiness is a major obstacle in his path to redemption. Now, having seen, I'm assuming you've seen Beauty and the Beast. Have you seen Beauty?
Have I? Have I? I don't know.
Anyways, well, you know the story. You're familiar with the story, right?
I've seen bits and pieces that I remember. I'm sure I've seen it. I just don't recall the entire movie like some people do.
AKA Lindsey Pogue.
I can't recite everything.
Okay. I thought you'd seen it. But anyway, so
I could use a refresher.
That being said, what you know of the Beast, and you can take it from any other rendition. It doesn't have to be the Disney version or whatever. But what you know of the Beast and the story of him and Belle, where would you rate his grumpiness.
I'm just gonna say that the Disney version is the best version because all these WB versions are disgusting. So I'm gonna put him at a 9.
All right. And do you have any other thoughts about the Beast?
He seemed pretty grumpy. Like the bits and pieces I remember him barking at her. Like she pissed him off, or he was pissed off, and he showed his teeth type growling thing. And I was like, "Whoa, he's mad."
Yeah, and I think the one thing to bring up in this is just because he's grumpy doesn't mean he doesn't have a soft side as well. And that's something that they didn't mention in this kind of rundown. So, yes, he's grumpy. He has given up hope. He's running out of time. He thinks he's unlovable, so he might as well push people away. All of that being said, he also goes and he saves her from the wolves when she tries to run away after he yelled at her, right?
Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the movie. Because I don't remember that.
That's why I'm telling you. Because you also said you don't even think you've seen the movie. Yeah, so I mean, he goes and he saves her. I think it's important to note that pretty much everybody in this list is a grumpy ass curmudgeon, but at the same time, they have a softer side as well, which is what endears us to them and why we like every character on here, I think is as far as I know, is a lovable character by the end of their story.
Yeah, we're not talking about pure evil people.
Right.
We're just talking about
Dennises, the Dennises of the world, the entertainment world.
Fucking assholes.
Some are more hairy than you. Other than that, we're giving the Beast 9.
I'm giving him a 9. A 9.
Okay. Yes. So the next one is, I've only seen one movie out of 2,500. So, and yes, that's an exaggeration. We're going to go with Professor Snape. Severus Snape. Is that his name?
No, it's pronounced Snape. He's French.
No, he's not.
You don't know the movie?
This Harry is Potter. Alan. No, I know. It's Harry Potter.
Snape. Snape.
It's not. I think it's Professor Snape. It says Severus Snape. And he is the one played by Alan
Rickman.
Yeah. Okay. So they make him look like he's a bad guy in the first one, but he's really just a freaking curmudgeon. I loved that about his character. And yes, spoiler, that movie's like 100 years old, so if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. I only saw it recently because I'm kind of a Harry Potter hater. Not for any other reason except for I worked at a bookstore when these books were like super popular, and I was so tired of seeing them and hearing about them. I was like, I never want to read one of these books in my life. So I finally read one, I don't know, a few years ago for the first time, and I was one and done. And a lot of people, that shocks a lot of people, but it's all I can say.
That's how I feel about Game of Thrones.
I know. Well, that's how you feel about pretty much everything.
That's true. People suck. Oh.
Oh, it's coming out. He's with his people. Okay, so this is what it says about Professor Snape. His bitterness and harshness are largely shaped by his past trauma and unrequited love. His grumpiness is a complex defense mechanism. Snape's pervasive grumpiness is deeply rooted in past trauma, unrequited love for Lily Potter, which is Harry's mom, right?
Don't know.
I don't know. And his bitterness over her choice of James. This manifests as constant sarcasm, harsh criticism, favoritism, and a general air of disdain towards most students, especially Harry. His grumpiness is a shield against his pain and a reflection of his internal conflict. While he performs heroic acts, his underlying bitterness often colors his interactions. Do you have anything to add to that?
No. I give Snape a 6.
We're sticking with Snape, huh? You're such a dork. All right. Snape gets a 6.
That's how it's written in the French version of the Harry Potters that were released in Paris.
How do you know that? You're making that up.
I read it.
You read the French version?
Not the American.
You're so full of crap. You did not.
Oui.
We already discussed this. You know 2 words in French. Pamplemousse and oui.
Don't bring it up. I said hors d'oeuvres last time, so that's a solid 3.
Okay. Okay.
I can go on.
No, we're moving on. Okay.
Hotel.
The third character, and this is one that you might be less likely to remember, but it's Wesley from The Princess Bride. He's the one all in black. As you wish. As he's like rolling down the hill. Anyways.
Princess Bride with You Kill My Father. That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the main love interest, all dressed in black.
Oh, the main dude, like the Zorro looking dude.
Yeah. That's him.
I don't think he's grumpy. He's a little rough, but okay, go on.
All right. So this is what it says about him. He's very snarky towards her, and he kind of holds a grudge. It seems like through the movie, like he kind of holds her at arm's length. So let's see what it says about Westley from The Princess Bride. While capable of great romance, his initial interaction with Buttercup often has a teasing, slightly impatient edge. His resurrection as the Man in Black has a defined air of grim determination. While deeply romantic, Wesley's initial grumpiness is subtle and often manifests as teasing and a slightly impatient tone when interacting with her. His years as a pirate, the dread Pirate Roberts, likely hardened him somewhat. Even after his quote-unquote resurrection, his persona as the Man in Black is marked by grim determination and a no-nonsense attitude. His grumpiness is often a mask for his underlying feelings and his focus on achieving his goals.
I remember him being a little bit kind of a dick, but I kind of took that as like flirting. So really from the movie, all I remember is, we are gathered here today.
Marriage.
So I'm going to give him a 4.
Okay. All right. So now we're going with the classic curmudgeon with a heart of gold. Hidden heart of gold.
Don't know who that is.
No, it's a category.
Oh, got you.
Sorry.
That was like a clue and I was supposed to guess.
No. So this is Carl Fredricksen from the movie Up. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, shit.
The little old man.
Yeah.
A widower who starts as a bitter and isolated old man, but rediscovers his zest for life and connection through an unexpected friendship. Carl's initial grumpiness is a direct result of grief and isolation following the death of his beloved wife, Ellie. He becomes bitter, withdrawn, and resistant to change, clinging to his memories and his house as a way to preserve their life together. He is impatient and easily annoyed by the outside world. However, his unexpected adventure with Russell forces him to confront his grief and rediscover his capacity for connection and joy. His grumpiness is a temporary state brought on by loss, and his journey is about finding happiness again. This is who you're going to be in 30 years, 20 years, probably 10 years from now. Yeah.
I'm already there. I'm already there.
You really are.
I'm going to give him a 5. He's a sweetheart.
I mean, he slams the door in the kid's face like 20 times before they get stuck together. So,
but the kid's also a dumbass. So
yeah, that's fair. Okay. He's super cute, old guy, and I think you immediately, as soon as you see his point of view, you immediately like feel bad for him.
You fall in love with the dude. Like, it's human nature. He's gone through a lot, and they already convey that pretty quickly. And it's like, man, anyone would act like that. So, well, maybe not anyone, but
Dennis can relate, is what you're saying. Alrighty. So next is one you are very familiar with. His name is Fitzwilliam Darcy, Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
The quintessential grumpy romantic lead. His initial arrogance and disdain mask a deep sense of honor and eventual passionate love. You could discuss the appeal of the seemingly cold exterior and the satisfaction of his emotional thawing. This grumpiness stems from his high social standing and perceived superiority. He views the Bennets and the surrounding society as beneath him, leading to an initial arrogance and disdain. His reserved nature and difficulty expressing emotions also contribute to his aloof and seemingly cold demeanor. However, beneath his exterior lies a strong sense of honor, integrity, and a capacity for deep passion, which is eventually revealed through his actions and persistent love of Elizabeth. His grumpiness is a barrier to overcome, both for Elizabeth and for himself. Now, there are certain things that you don't know about him. He slights her in front of people and makes her feel less than. He says that she essentially is tolerably pretty, and he won't dance with her when they're kind of pushed together to dance, like she's beneath him. There's all these little things that make her dislike him and him come off as an asshole. On top of that, though, or I guess on the reverse of that is later on, he starts to see that I think he starts to see that he hurt her because now she pokes at him because she went from being curious about him to thinking he's a complete asshole. So she would do what I would do, which is kind of be an asshole subtly during the time, but kind of be an asshole back. So as the story goes on, there's a lot of opportunity for he does these really little things to, like, when she's not around and people talk crap about her, he stands up for her, and or at least says he doesn't agree with them. There's some issues with her family and he goes out of his way. He takes responsibility because he wasn't forthcoming with some information that he should have been. And so he goes out of his way to spend money, his time, and track down her sister and do all these things that he didn't need to do to save her family from ruin. And I know he says that he, at the end of the movie, that he did it for her because he loves her, but really he did it because he's also a decent guy, right? Like, he didn't just do it for Elizabeth. So there's like this back and forth of, it's kind of like we were talking about on one of the past episodes where guys just speak without thinking. I think in the beginning of the story, we see a lot of him, just his initial reaction based on what he thinks, what he's been trained to do and say because of society. And then later, the more he's around Elizabeth and gets to know her, the more he reflects on kind of what he's done and said. He even, I don't even know if you know this, he even proposes to her and says, even though I know you're beneath me, I still can't get you out of my head, so I want to marry you. And she's like, wow, that's a horrible proposal, so fuck off. Pretty much. You're the last man in the world I would ever marry. So.
Oh, she turned him down?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So there's a lot of back and forth, and I just want to give you an idea of his character and the things that he does so that when you are rating him, you kind of know a little bit more. Because we've talked about him, he's like a very beloved book boyfriend. He's one of my favorite book boyfriends, but that's a little bit more about his character.
6.
Okay. Okie smoker. And this character, neither one of us, I don't think, have seen House, but this is Dr. Gregory House, and I know that he is known as like a complete asshole, and I was just curious, so I figured we would pick him. So Dr. Gregory House's grumpiness is a complex defense mechanism against chronic pain and a deep-seated misanthropy. I don't actually know what that means. Just one second. Oh, dislike of humankind. Okay. Are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh, misanthropy.
Oh, thought you had a question. Yep. Nope. That's pretty accurate. He views most people as stupid and dishonest, leading to his sarcastic, insulting, and often rule-breaking behavior. His brilliance and dedication to solving medical mysteries are often overshadowed by his abrasive personality. However, glimpses of his own vulnerability and past trauma reveal the underlying reasons for his cynicism. His grumpiness is integral to his character, creating both conflict and dark humor, and occasionally masking a genuine, albeit twisted, form of caring.
From the handful of episodes I've seen, like 2, maybe more, I'd give him an 8. He's a complete prick.
All right,
But I have seen some where he kind of becomes a little bit vulnerable, or has a nice side, or has some redeeming qualities. But the majority of the time, he is a
ass hat, huh? Mm-hmm. I've never seen a single episode, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to see it though.
Yeah, we should start. It's cool because it's in the medical field, and he's always right, or damn near always right, but he is sandpaper.
All right, so the next category is the sarcastic and witty grump. Do you have any guess who might be on this list?
Sarcastic, witty grump. No.
Ron Swanson, everybody.
Oh, should have thought
Parks
about
and Rec. A staunch libertarian with a deep distrust of government and a generally stoic and grumpy demeanor, yet fiercely loyal to his friends. Ron's grumpiness is rooted in his staunch libertarianism, his deep distrust for government, and his general aversion to anything he deems unnecessary or emotional. He is stoic, taciturn, and often expresses his disapproval with grunts and glares. For all that is holy, let me try it again.
Okay.
He values self-reliance and practicality above all else. However, beneath his gruff exterior lies a fierce loyalty to his friends and a surprising capacity for sentimentality, which he rarely shows openly. His grumpiness is a core comedic element and a reflection of his deeply held beliefs. You have seen him many times in that show. Any thoughts on Mr. Ron Swanson, and what would you rate him?
I do like he's like 98% grump, but when you get that 2% where he shows like what you just said, where he's got that fierce loyalty and really kind of wants people to better themselves on their own, but he's willing to help if they just need a swift kick in the butt. He's got this like stupid little lip grin lift thing or a look where you're like, oh man, he knows what he's doing. He's pushed this person, or he's helped them out in a way that betters themselves. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna give him probably an 8.
All right, this character I thought was strange to be on this list, but I left him because I wanted to talk about him. Chandler Bing from Friends. His humor is often a defense mechanism rooted in insecurity, leading to sarcastic and cynical remarks. However, he's also deeply loyal and loving. Chandler's grumpiness manifests as constant sarcasm and self-deprecating humor. This stems from his insecurity and awkwardness, often used as a shield in social situations. He can be cynical about relationships and commitment due to his parents' tumultuous marriage. However, beneath the layers of wit and sarcasm is a deeply loyal, caring, and loving friend and partner. His grumpiness is a coping mechanism that gradually softens as he finds genuine connection and security.
Yeah, I don't think he's grumpy at all. I think it's more
vulnerable with a mask of sarcastic humor.
Yeah, I give him a 2.
I love me some Chandler Bing though. Chenandular Bong. Wait, Chenandular Bong is that one? I forget. Anyway, I love him though. Out of Chandler, Ron Swanson, House, Mr. Darcy, the old man from Up, Wesley, Professor Snape, or whatever the hell you called him, and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, who do you think that you are most like?
I think I'm probably more like, that's tough. I don't see myself as the Beast. I don't see myself as Chandler. It's somewhere in the middle, not House. I'm thinking somewhere between the old man and maybe the Princess Bride guy.
Yeah? You don't see Ron Swanson in your...
Yeah, maybe Ron Swanson.
No, I'm just curious because I'm going to tell you how I rate you in a second.
Yeah, I'd say maybe a little bit of not Darcy.
I don't want to lead you.
Do I got to select one?
No. I'm just curious, like where you think you fit.
Somewhere, because I rated Swanson pretty high in the grumpy, but Swanson, old man, and Zorro guy.
What do you kind of see from the Zorro guy / Wesley? Like, what made you pick him, just out of curiosity?
That he pokes. He's poking Buttercup.
Yeah, okay. I see that. What about the old guy? I already know this.
I picked Zorro guy because he's kind of just an asshole, right? The old man's not an asshole. Swanson's not really an asshole compared to Zorro guy. The old man because he's just an old grumpy dude. And then Swanson because he's grumpy and doesn't like people, but he still kind of like pushes people to better themselves or likes helping people or, still has a glimpse of humanity. So he's not giving up.
Yeah, I think hands down, you're Ron Swanson. I think you're a man's man. You have very little tolerance for most things, but you have a heart of gold. And I think that you would give you would give the shirt off your back for somebody. And I think he would do the same unless he was like, you're stupid, I'm not doing that for whatever reason. But in general, I think that he is a good leader in a lot of ways, and you're a good leader. And just, yeah, even even your comments, I think, are very similar to his sometimes. So in general, I think definitely Ron Swanson. And then I also had you as a Carl. You're like a Ron Swanson now, but a Carl in like 20 years. I mean, we already decided maybe 5 years from now, but let's just say 20 years from now for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think too of other characters, and Dr. Cox would have been a good one.
Oh, that is a good one. That's a Scrub reference for anybody who doesn't watch Scrubs.
Because he's a freaking prick, but he also tries to help.
You're not like him, though.
No. I'm just saying for the list. Like,
oh yeah, he would have been a good one. He would have been a really good one, actually. I like that. So we're kind of on the same page. I didn't see the Wesley, but I mean, I kind of see it, like the poking, and yeah, you definitely do that sometimes. So I can see that now. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Put on your Ron Swanson hat, okay? I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me what you would do in this situation, and then what you think Ron Swanson would do in this situation, okay?
Oh, boy.
So imagine you pick up a romance novel by accident, thinking it was a thriller or a magazine about cars. You pick and choose whatever you want. You realize your mistake about 3 chapters in. What is your immediate reaction as you?
So I pick something up thinking it's something else, and 3 chapters in.
Okay, just say 1 chapter in.
Don't know what it is. And
3 pages in.
But what is it? It's a romance?
Yeah.
Myself, I'd probably continue reading.
That is surprising. Okay, so what do you think Ron would do? Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson would read the first page, or maybe the title or the back or something, and then light it on fire. He would not get a chapter deep.
Yeah. Okay.
Nor would I, but I think that
you'd be curious at least.
I'd be curious. Okay.
Question 2. There's only 2. Same thing. What you would do versus what Ron would do. Okay. You're at a party, and a very enthusiastic stranger comes up to you and wants to tell you their life story in excruciating detail. How do you politely or impolitely try to escape?
Okay. I would probably say, I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. What do you think Ron would say?
Ron would probably say, I'm gonna go top off my whiskey. Bye.
Chug it down and then go kill myself. Okay, that's funny. I was just curious. I didn't come up with those questions, but I found them, and then I was like, oh, this will be fun. So, all right. Well, that is a wrap on that activity. You're still laughing.
That's fun. That was fun. I like that.
Good. Trying to think of some fun stuff to do.
I'm pretty grumpy, but I don't really display it that much in public, I guess.
Right.
Ron Swanson does not give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, get the hell away from me. Like,
yeah.
Well, he's not rude about it, but he kind of just says bye. I'll see you later. I'm leaving, or just ghost people or whatever. Walks
just
away.
Turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead, wrap up this episode with what we're grateful for and get our weekend started, which means I'm going to make dinner.
I'm grateful for, the last 2 weeks have been pretty damn hectic. A lot of stuff happening at work, a lot of family stuff happening with the trip to New Orleans. I'm just grateful to be home. I'm also grateful to hang out with family and see my parents over the weekend. So it was nice.
I was also going to essentially say the same thing. I am really grateful for our amazing family and friends, and we had a really nice trip. It could have gone between the weather and all the traveling. It could have gone much worse. It was really great and really fun. And I'm also grateful to be home and kind of get back into my routines, because I had a whole month of chaos as far as emotionally before I even left. And so it's nice to kind of feel normal, be home, and feel like I can start the second half of the year all over, like not all over again, but kind of start from scratch and get back into routine and feel better and all that good stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'm grateful for all those things as well. So, well, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for listening to us, bearing with us. And I hope we made you smile and laugh a little bit. That's always our goal. If you guys have any ideas or requests for things that you would like us to chat about, I am always looking for new ideas. So please don't hesitate to text me if you know me, call me if you know me, email me if you know me, or reach out on social media and tell me what your ideas are. No guarantees we'll do it, but I am always open to ideas. So
Yeah, and for those that know me, don't contact me. Go ahead and forward them to Lindsey. Thank you.
all right, we will talk to you guys next week, and happy reading and listening adventures until then.
Mahalo.
Bye. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Grumpily Ever After. Whether you're here for the book talk or the banter, we appreciate you. If you enjoyed our brand of chaos, don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more book chats and married mayhem. Stay grumpy, stay bookish, and we'll catch you next time.